Chosen one, a private meeting about you turned reckless, criminal scheming meant to sabotage you, and it was overheard, shifting everything fast. While they plotted removal, you kept rising, and that contrast exposed them. Stay visible, stay calm, protection moves ahead of you. This becomes public, final, proving schemes collapse when aimed at someone covered fully. It started with someone from your past, someone who never got over you, not because you were together and it ended, but because you rejected this person, or you outgrew them, or you simply existed in a way that made them feel inadequate. This individual has been carrying a wound they refused to heal, and that wound festered, turned into bitterness, morphed into obsession. While you are out here healing, growing, stepping into new levels of peace and power, this person was watching, checking your social media, asking mutual people about you, measuring their life against yours, and coming up short every single time. And that comparison was eating them alive from the inside out. And here's what they couldn't stand. You weren't just doing better than them. You were glowing with a peace they'll never understand. You were radiating a joy that doesn't come from external validation. You were walking in a confidence that isn't based on competition. You were operating from a place of authentic alignment that they can't fake or buy or steal. Every time this person saw you, every update they heard about you, every glimpse of your life was a mirror showing them everything they're not, everything they could have been if they'd chosen growth over bitterness, everything they'll never be because they're too invested in hatred to do the inner work. You represent their unlived life, their road not taken, their potential they'll never reach because they're too busy obsessing over you instead of building themselves. And that's why your happiness became unbearable to them, because it's evidence that the path they rejected, the healing they avoided, the growth they resisted, that was the right path all along. They found another person who was also watching you, your copycat, someone who's been studying your style, your mannerisms, your energy, the way you move through the world. At first you might have noticed and thought it was flattery, but this wasn't admiration. This was someone trying to absorb your essence because they don't have their own. This copycat has been watching you like you're a manual. They're trying to memorize, studying how you dress, how you speak, how you carry yourself, what you post, what you create, how you interact with people. They're not inspired by you, they're threatened by you, because deep down they know they can copy your style, but they can't copy your substance. They can mimic your actions, but they can't manufacture your authenticity. These two found each other, the bitter ex-connection and the obsessed copycat, and they bonded over their shared hatred of you. The person from your past started feeding the copycat poison, twisting stories, painting you as the villain in narratives you didn't even know existed, and the copycat, already insecure and jealous, drank it all in. They gave each other permission to hate you without guilt, and then your happiness reached a level they couldn't ignore anymore. You healed too much, you glowed too bright, you stepped into peace in a way that made it obvious you weren't thinking about them at all, and that was the final straw. Because nothing enrages bitter people more than realizing you've moved on while they're still stuck. You weren't posting about them, you weren't talking about them, you weren't thinking about them, you were just living, thriving, growing, glowing. And that indifference, that freedom from their narrative, that's what pushed them over the edge. Because they wanted to matter to you, they wanted you to be affected by them, they wanted evidence that they had power over you, and your peace proved they had none. They didn't just want to compete. They started discussing how to remove you from the picture entirely, conversations where they explored options most people wouldn't even think about, ways to harm you, ways to arrange accidents, ways to make you disappear, and they needed money to make it happen. So the copycats started stealing, maybe from their job, maybe from a family member, maybe from a business they're connected to. Small amounts at first, thinking nobody would notice, then larger sums as their obsession grew. They justified it to themselves. They needed resources. They needed to fund this. They needed to make this plan a reality. Think about the mental gymnastics required to justify this. The copycats probably telling themselves they'll pay it back, that it's just temporary, that the ends justify the means, that once you're out of the picture, everything will be better, and they'll return what they borrowed. 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 That's the word they're using in their head. Not stolen. Borrowed. But each time they take money, it gets easier. The guilt fades, the justifications get smoother, and the amounts get bigger. What started as a small skim becomes a regular pattern. What felt wrong at first becomes routine. And with each transaction, they're digging themselves deeper into a hole they don't even realize they're in. They're moving money around, creating false records, maybe claiming expenses that don't exist, maybe taking cash and pocketing it, maybe transferring funds they have access to but no permission to use. And with every move they're creating evidence, building a case against themselves without even knowing it. Money leaves trails. Every transaction creates a record. Every withdrawal raises flags. And someone whose job is to investigate financial crimes started noticing the discrepancies, started asking questions, started building a file. The copycats now under official investigation, real authorities looking into real crimes, and they're starting to panic. Because this isn't just about money anymore. This is about what that money was for, and if that comes out, they're looking at charges that carry serious time. If this message awakens something within you, hype this video for other chosen ones who need to hear this. So now you've got two people in crisis mode. They need to talk. They need to figure out their next move. So they meet in secret, maybe in a closet, maybe in a car, maybe in some dark corner where they think no one can hear them, and they whisper harsh, desperate words at each other. It's dark. They don't even have the lights on. They're that paranoid about being seen, pressed close together, faces inches apart, speaking in those harsh whispered tones that somehow sound angrier than yelling. You know that kind of whisper where every consonant is sharp, every word is clipped, every sentence drips with panic and rage. The copycats freaking out. They're in over their head. They're realizing they might go to prison. They're realizing the person from your past isn't going to take any blame, because here's the genius of the manipulation. The person from your past has no fingerprints on this. The copycat did all the dirty work, took all the risks, put their name on everything, and in this cramped space, in this darkness, they're saying things out loud that should never be spoken. The copycat's voice is shaking, demanding to know what they're supposed to do now, asking why they're the only one exposed, bringing up your name, bringing up the money, bringing up what they paid for, bringing up the person they were trying to contact to handle you. The person from your past is trying to stay calm, but you can hear the tension. They're saying things like, "I don't know what you're talking about." They're already distancing themselves, already rewriting history, already preparing their defense. "I never told you to do anything. You did this on your own. You're the one who got greedy with the money." And the copycats getting louder, forgetting to whisper, voice rising with desperation. "Are you serious right now? This was your idea. You're the one who hated them so much. You're the one who said they needed to be stopped. You're the one who found the contact. I just got the money together." Back and forth they go, accusations flying, denials mounting, each trying to make the other take responsibility, each trying to protect themselves, neither realizing that their voices are carrying. That sound travels in ways they don't understand, that the universe has arranged for the wrong ears to be in the right place. Someone heard everything. The walls in that cramped space weren't as thick as they thought. The darkness wasn't as private as they assumed. Someone was close enough to hear every word, every detail, every confession, and this person who overheard. They're sitting on this information like it's burning a hole in their conscience. They heard things that shocked them, things they never expected to hear, Your name being discussed in the context of violence, money being discussed in the context of payment for services, plans being discussed that sound like something out of a crime drama. This witness is probably conflicted right now. Part of them wants to pretend they didn't hear anything, wants to mind their business, wants to stay out of it, but another part knows what they heard was serious, criminal, something that could result in real harm to a real person, you, and then, in a moment of pure desperation, the copycat made their biggest mistake yet. They reached out to someone they thought was a friend, someone they thought they could trust, and they confessed everything. The stolen money, the investigation, the conspiracy against you, the plans they made, all of it came pouring out like a dam breaking. They thought they were venting to someone who'd understand, someone who'd help, someone who'd keep their secret. The copycat's probably sitting there, maybe crying, maybe shaking, definitely overwhelmed, and they're spilling everything. The words are tumbling out faster than they can control. They're telling this fake friend about the meetings in the dark, about the person from your past filling their head with hatred, about taking the money, about what the money was for, about you being the target, about how scared they are now that investigators are asking questions. And this fake friend is sitting there nodding, looking sympathetic, acting concerned, but inside they're calculating, they're recognizing opportunity, they're seeing leverage, because what they're hearing isn't just drama, it's power, it's information that could be worth something, a lot of something. But this friend isn't really a friend. This person's an opportunist, someone who sees value in information, someone who just realized they're now holding a weapon that could destroy the copycat with a single conversation. And they start calculating, they start seeing possibilities. Should they go to the authorities? Should they use this as leverage? Should they blackmail the copycat? Because what they just heard isn't gossip, it's evidence. Evidence of financial crimes, evidence of conspiracy to commit violence, evidence that could put someone away for a very long time. And this fake friend makes a choice. They're going to use this information. They start making demands, money to stay quiet, favors, leverage, and there's no end to it, because blackmail doesn't stop with one payment. It's a cycle that bleeds you dry. At first, it's subtle. The fake friend mentions they're having money problems. They wonder out loud if the copycat could help them out, just a small amount, just to get through the month. And the copycat, desperate to keep this person happy, desperate to keep them quiet, pays up. But then the requests get bigger, more frequent, more demanding. The fake friend's tone changes, less friendly, more threatening. They start making comments like, "It would be terrible if someone found out what you did," or, "I wonder what would happen if I accidentally mentioned this to the wrong person." The copycat realizes too late what they've done. They've given power to someone with no loyalty, someone who can destroy them whenever they want, someone who's now squeezing them for everything they have. And now the copycat's in an impossible position. They're being investigated for stealing money, and they're being forced to steal more money to pay off the person who knows they stole the first batch of money. It's a nightmare spiral with no exit. Each payment makes them more desperate. Each demand makes them more trapped. Each day that passes tightens the noose around their neck. While this drama unfolds, the official investigation is progressing, slowly, methodically, following the money trail, connecting transactions, building a case piece by piece. The investigators started looking into financial irregularities. They didn't know about you. They didn't know about the conspiracy. They were just following missing money. But here's how divine justice works. When you pull one element, the whole situation unravels. These investigators are good at their job. They're trained to spot patterns, to see connections, to follow breadcrumbs that most people don't even notice. And the copycat's been leaving breadcrumbs everywhere. Sloppy withdrawals, unusual transfers, expenses that don't match up with records, gaps in documentation that raise red flags. As they dig deeper, they're finding communications, evidence of what the money was funding, and they're starting to realize this isn't just embezzlement. This is something much darker: conspiracy, intent to harm, crimes that multiply the charges exponentially. They're pulling bank records, interviewing people, cross-referencing timelines, and with each piece of evidence they gather, the picture gets clearer. This wasn't just someone skimming a little off the top. This was organized, planned, purposeful, money being moved with specific intent. And then they find something that changes everything. Maybe it's a text message the copycat thought they deleted. Maybe it's an email they forgot about. Maybe it's a witness who saw something and came forward. But whatever it is, it connects the financial crimes to something much more serious. It shows what the money was for. It reveals your name. It exposes the conspiracy. Now the investigators aren't just building a case for theft. They're looking at conspiracy to commit violence. They're looking at charges that carry serious time. They're looking at severe implications if any of this crossed certain lines or involved certain types of communication. The copycat's trying to act normal, pretending everything's fine, but inside they're collapsing, can't sleep, having nightmares, imagining police at their door, imagining their life destroyed, imagining everyone knowing what they did. And the stress is making them sloppy. They're making mistakes, acting suspicious, drawing attention. People around them are noticing something's wrong, starting to ask questions, starting to wonder. Their behavior's changed. They're jumpier, more paranoid, looking over their shoulder constantly, checking their phone obsessively. Their work performance is suffering. Their relationships are strained. They're a mess, and people are noticing. Some of that stolen money came from family. Maybe a family business, maybe a relative's savings, maybe money that was supposed to be protected and cherished. Think about what this means. This isn't just faceless corporate funds. This is money that someone's parent worked their whole life to save. Money that was supposed to go towards something important. Maybe a relative's medical care, maybe a family member's education, maybe retirement funds that someone spent a lifetime building. And the copycat took it, diverted it, used it to fund a conspiracy against you. And families notice when money goes missing. They ask questions, they investigate on their own, and when they figure out what happened, the consequences go beyond legal. This is broken trust, shattered relationships, being cut off from people who loved you. I must interrupt this transmission for just a moment. Are you really chosen? Prove it. It's easy to watch videos about chosen ones. It's another thing to put yourself to the test. If you're still here, that means something, but talk is cheap. Real chosen ones take action. That's why I built Destiny Engine. It generates personalized sequences that help you rewire betrayal into transcendence, turn isolation into sacred power, and transform their downfall into your rise. We are using the Dark Elite's own weapons against them, taking their declassified consciousness technology that programmed competition and scarcity and repurposing it to serve divine justice. You put on the headphones, press play, and watch your enemies choke on the rope their own lies created. If you're done consuming and ready to prove you're chosen, start your Destiny Engine for $1 today. Join the Obsidian Inner Order live checks and watch divine justice accelerate in your life. Link in the description. The conversations that are probably happening right now in that family are devastating. How could you do this? We trusted you. That was for your siblings' future. That was our safety net. How are we supposed to recover from this? And the copycat has no good answers, no justification that makes sense, no excuse that repairs the damage. The copycat's not just facing prison, they're facing the loss of everything, their freedom, their reputation, their family, their future, all because they let someone else's bitterness poison their mind. all because they couldn't handle their own jealousy, all because they chose destruction over growth. They destroyed their own family relationships because they were obsessed with destroying you. They sacrificed real love for imaginary vengeance. They gave up actual support for the promise of removing someone who wasn't even thinking about them. The asymmetry of it all is staggering. Meanwhile, the person from your past is watching all this chaos unfold, and they're trying to stay far away from it. They're not helping the copycat. They're not intervening. They're protecting themselves, because that's who they are, someone who manipulates others into doing their dirty work, and then disappears when things go wrong. They're acting like they have no idea what the copycat's talking about. Playing innocent, creating distance, making sure their name stays out of it, because they think they're clever, they think they're safe, they think they orchestrated the perfect crime with no connection back to them. This person is a master manipulator. They know exactly how to plant seeds without leaving fingerprints, how to suggest without explicitly saying, how to encourage without taking responsibility. They probably never directly said, "Go steal money," or "let's harm them." They spoke in implications, in suggestions, in what-ifs. They'd say things like, "Someone should really do something about them," or "It's not fair that they get to be so happy after what they did to me," or "I wonder what would happen if they just disappeared." Planting ideas, watering resentment, cultivating hatred, but never actually committing to anything concrete. And the copycat, desperate for validation, desperate for direction, desperate for someone to validate their jealousy, heard those implications as instructions, heard those suggestions as plans, heard those what-ifs as blueprints, and ran with them. Now the person from your past is distancing themselves, rewriting history in their mind, convincing themselves they did nothing wrong, that the copycat acted independently, that they can't be held responsible for what someone else chose to do. They're building their defense before they're even accused, but they're forgetting about the fake friend, the one who overheard their whispered arguments, the one who knows both of them were involved, the one who has information that could implicate everyone. They're not panicking like the copycat. They're calm, too calm, eerily calm, because they genuinely believe they're untouchable. They think they're smarter than everyone else. They think they covered their tracks perfectly. They think their manipulation was so subtle that no one could ever prove their involvement. But arrogance makes people sloppy. Overconfidence creates blind spots. And the person from your past has a massive blind spot. They don't realize that manipulation leaves patterns, that gaslighting creates witnesses, that every conversation they thought was private might have been overheard by someone they didn't account for. Now all these elements are coming together, the investigation's reaching its conclusion, the fake friends making their move, the families asking questions, the person from your past is trying to disappear, the copycat's falling apart, and it's all about to go public. The investigators are connecting the dots. They're seeing the full picture. They're realizing this wasn't just financial crime. This was conspiracy to commit violence. And when they bring charges, they're going to be severe, life-changing, devastating. They've got bank records showing the stolen money. They've got communications showing what the money was for. They've got witness testimony from people who overheard conversations. They've got the fake friend ready to talk in exchange for immunity. They've got family members confirming money went missing. They've got a timeline that connects everything, and they're preparing to make their move. Search warrants are being drafted. Arrest warrants are being prepared. Prosecutors are building their case. And the copycat has no idea how close this is to happening. They're still trying to act normal, still trying to pretend everything's fine, still trying to pay off the fake friend and hope this all goes away. But it's not going away. It's about to explode in the most public way possible. The fake friend's going to leverage their information. Maybe they go to prosecutors for a deal. Maybe they keep blackmailing the copycat. Either way, they're going to talk. They're going to tell what they know about both people being involved, about the conspiracy, about you being the target. And when that information comes out, your name's going to surface. People are going to hear what was planned against you. But here's the beautiful part. You're not going to be known as the victim. You're going to be known as the one who was so protected that every weapon formed against you turned on its creator. The one who was so covered that your enemies destroyed themselves trying to reach you. This is the moment when divine justice becomes visible to human eyes, when spiritual protection manifests in the physical realm, when cosmic law demonstrates its power in ways that can't be denied or explained away. The copycat's going to wake up soon to law enforcement at their door. They're going to be read their rights. They're going to be taken into custody. They're going to face charges that could result in serious prison time. And in that moment, they're going to realize how catastrophically they miscalculated, how deeply they underestimated the forces protecting you, how completely they destroyed themselves. And the person from your past, they're going to think they escaped. They're going to breathe a sigh of relief when they hear about the copycat's arrest. They're going to think their manipulation worked perfectly. They got someone else to do the crime while they stayed clean. But then the fake friend's testimony comes out. The overheard conversations are revealed. The connection between the copycat and the person from your past is exposed. And suddenly the person from your past isn't safe anymore. They're implicated. They're involved. They're facing charges too. Both of them are going down. Both of them are facing consequences that will reshape their entire existence. And both of them are learning the same lesson. You don't come for chosen ones. You don't plot against people who are divinely protected. You don't weaponize jealousy into conspiracy, because the universe has a perfect accounting system, and every attack against the protected becomes a sentence against the attacker. And where are you in all this? You're exactly where you've always been, walking your path, building your life, stepping into your power. You didn't have to fight these battles. You didn't have to defend yourself. You didn't have to expose your enemies. You just had to keep being you, because that's how it works for chosen ones. You don't fight your battles fight themselves. You don't defend your name defends itself. You don't prove your worth proves itself. When everything comes out, when the truth surfaces, when their conspiracy is exposed, people are going to look at you differently, not with pity, with awe, because you're going to be the one who was targeted by criminals and remained untouched, the one who was plotted against and stayed protected, the one who was threatened and kept thriving. You're going to become living proof that some people are covered by forces beyond human comprehension, that chosen ones operate under different laws, that divine protection is real and it's ruthless and it's automatic. People who doubted you are going to question their judgment. People who underestimated you are going to recalibrate their assessment. People who thought you were just lucky are going to realize you're blessed. There's a difference. Luck is random. Blessing is purposeful. Everything they tried to do to you boomeranged back with devastating precision. The money they stole to fund your destruction became the evidence that convicted them. The secret conversations they thought were private were overheard by exactly the wrong person. The alliance they built on hatred crumbled because neither could trust the other. The fake friend they confided in became the witness against them. This isn't luck. This isn't coincidence. This is spiritual law in action. This is what happens when you're aligned with your purpose and protected by forces beyond human comprehension. Every trap set for you becomes a grave for your enemies. Every weapon formed against you malfunctions and turns on its creator. Every scheme plotted in darkness gets exposed in the light. And you didn't orchestrate any of it. You didn't manipulate circumstances. You didn't pull strings behind the scenes. You just kept walking in your truth, kept honoring your path, kept trusting your protection, and protection showed up in ways that will shock everyone watching. The beauty of this situation is that you get to watch your vindication unfold without becoming bitter. You get to witness justice without becoming vengeful. You get to see your enemies fall without losing your peace, because you understand something they never will. This isn't about you defeating them. This is about them defeating themselves by coming for someone who was never theirs to touch. Your role in all of this was simply to exist in your power, to be authentic in a world of copycats, to stay peaceful while chaos swirled around you, to keep growing while others tried to stunt you, to remain aligned while they lost themselves in hatred. That's it. That's all you had to do, and it was enough to trigger their complete destruction. You are more powerful than you realized, not because you defeated them, but because they had to escalate to criminal conspiracy to try to stop you. Think about that. They didn't just compete. They went criminal. They risked everything, their freedom, their futures, their families. Why? Because normal methods wouldn't work against you. Because you're not operating on a regular frequency. Because something about your energy, your alignment, your purpose threatened them on a soul level. They saw in you what they'll never have, not talent or success or material things. They saw authenticity, someone aligned with truth, someone walking in purpose, someone connected to something bigger, and that kind of power can't be competed with. It can only be recognized and either celebrated or attacked. They chose attack, and in doing so, they confirmed what you might have doubted about yourself. You are exactly who you think you are, exactly as powerful as you suspected, exactly as protected as you hoped, exactly as destined as you dreamed. Their conspiracy wasn't just a crime, it was a testimony to your significance. People don't go to criminal lengths to destroy someone who doesn't matter. They don't risk everything to take down someone insignificant. They don't organize felonies against people who aren't threats. So in a twisted way, their attack was the ultimate validation. They saw your greatness before you fully owned it. They recognized your power before you fully stepped into it. They knew you were dangerous to their delusions before you fully believed in yourself. And every step they took to stop you actually pushed you forward. Every scheme they created strengthened you. Every obstacle they placed elevated you. Because that's how it works for chosen ones. The things meant to destroy us become the things that define us. The people meant to break us become the people who make us. You're standing on the other side of an assassination attempt. Emotional, spiritual, physical, financial. They came at you from every angle, and you're still here, still standing, still shining, still moving forward, still chosen. You now know something you can never unknow. You're protected at a level that transcends human understanding. Schemes against you backfire. People who try to destroy you end up destroying themselves. You're covered by forces that make human plans irrelevant. So walk forward differently now. Walk with the confidence of someone who's been tested and passed. Someone who's been attacked and survived. Someone who's been targeted and remained standing. Not arrogance, truth, not ego, evidence. When the news breaks, when arrests happen, when truth comes out, don't gloat, don't celebrate their suffering. Just recognize it as divine justice, cosmic balance, spiritual law in action, and keep walking your path. Document what you need to document. Protect your energy from nosy people who want drama. Share your story only with those who've earned your trust, because your peace is sacred, your energy is currency, your attention is valuable, but don't let their chaos become your focus. Don't get so caught up in their consequences that you forget to build your future, because while they're dealing with investigations and arrests and trials, you could be launching that business, writing that book, building that empire, living that life. Let their drama be background noise while you compose the symphony of your destiny. Let their fall be a footnote in your chapter of triumph. Let their consequences be a reminder that you're protected in ways that make you untouchable. That meeting they thought was private became the beginning of their end. Those plans they thought were secret became evidence in their prosecution. That conspiracy they thought was clever became the testimony of your protection. You didn't fight them. You didn't even know the full scope of what they were doing. You just kept being you, kept walking your path, kept trusting your protection, and protection showed up in ways they never saw coming. The walls had ears, the fake friend had motives, the investigation had teeth, the universe had your back, and now their attempt to destroy you has become your public vindication. Their criminal conspiracy has become your divine testimony. So let this be a reminder. You don't have to fight your battles, just keep being you. You don't have to defend your name, just keep walking in your truth. You don't have to prove your worth, just keep trusting your protection, because you're chosen, and chosen ones are untouchable. Your enemies fall without you lifting a finger. Your battles win themselves. Your vindication comes automatically. The private meeting about you was overheard. The criminal scheming to sabotage you was exposed, and they're going to face everything they tried to make you face. Every trap they set caught them instead. Every weapon they formed turned on them. Every grave they dug became their own. And you're still here, still standing, still shining, still chosen, still untouchable, still protected, still powerful. Now go build the empire they tried to prevent. Live the life they tried to destroy. Become the force they feared you'd become. Not to prove anything to them, but because that's who you are. That's what you're meant to do. That's your destiny calling. You are chosen. You are protected. You are powerful. And no scheme, no conspiracy, no plot, no plan, no enemy, no attack can change that ever. This is your testimony. This is your vindication. This is your proof. Walk in it, own it, embody it, because the universe just showed you who you really are. Untouchable,